So this plane is actually going up today, and I wanted to pre-flight it. This is actually what I do every single time. So before it even comes out of the hangar, there are at least 3 things that I check. First, I go around the entire plane and make sure everything looks good, check the exhaust pipes and stuff and the turbo exhaust. And then if that all looks good, I'll check all 3 tires. This is actually something that I think a lot of people skip, and frankly, to me, it's one of the most important things, is to ensure that we have the correct tire inflation at each of the tires. They're different. The main has different settings in the front, and they're actually different tires. And it can be a little bit of a pain, which is why I think people skip it, because you have to move the plane to get, you know, to get the valve available. And you can see that the POH and the doors, they have the suggested tire inflation there, which is totally different from the one here. And so I'll check those. Next, if I might get into some icing inadvertently, I'll make sure that I have the right amount of TKS fluid. This is the stuff that I'm using for that. And I'm below 1 gallon on each wing. The maximum capacity is 4 on each side. It's 9 pounds a gallon. You got to take that into account in the weight and balance. And I have a setting in my weight and balance on ForeFlight so that I can account for that weight. But I need another ½ gallon on either side just in case. That's what that's for. And then the last thing I do in the hangar is I'll look at the oil. And this way I can make some adjustments. And you can see, I hope, that this is low by 1 quart right there. And that's because I just had it changed, and I noticed that that's what typically happens. I'll run the plane a little bit and it will need some more oil after all the parts get coated and stuff after an oil change. So the plane is out and I take a quick look, everything looks fine. And now I'm going to start the exterior pre-flight outside of the hangar. And the sources that I use for this are the POH, and my POH is chapter 4, starts on page 5. And then I also have my own much more expanded checklist that I programmed into ForeFlight. The first thing I do is I go inside and I'm going to turn on BAT 2. The reason I'm doing that is because this is the only time you're going to be able to check if the secondary battery is working. So we turn that on by itself. Then it's going to be BAT 1, avionics, and then I'm going to do my lights. Okay, turn on all the lights. And I'm going to do a walk around, starting from this side. Right on the right, that looks good. And I got my landing light working. Green on the left. And then we're looking at working. And I'll go in and I'll check the avionics. Everything on the databases looks good. So now I can shut this down. I keep the radio with me and I turn it on to the ATIS so I can listen to it and also check my handheld radio, which I keep with me in the plane. And then I take my checklist and I start on this side and I touch everything. These flaps, I'm looking at the hinges and we're going to check the flaps and activate them in a second. Static port open. Leading edges are all clean. If they're not, I'm going to clean them. We need to have 2 pieces of tape right here. That's for aerodynamics, and we have to have that weight. Not allowed to fly without that weight. Our tabs are good and the proper position. No push here means for tugging and stuff like that, but for pre-flighting, yes, push. I'm looking for the weight up there. Nuts. And good connection over here, nothing impeding it. Stabilizer, weight up there. That looks good. Same thing over here, got to have that weight, and if those marks are moved, do not fly. Tape on. Okay, second static port. Now I'm going to go down and I'm looking for my ELT, my COM2, and all the other stuff that's down here. I'm gonna get to more of that in a second. Second flaps, and I'm looking for those screws. Looks good. Then I want to see that this is connected and moving the yokes, and I'll check the mechanism in here. Nothing impeding it. Static wicks are present, and I'm touching the leading edge all the way around. Stall horn, which I've already checked, and I can tell you how to check the stall horn if anybody's confused about that. As we get to the front of the plane, we're looking that this is connected. I've already checked these screws, and I'm looking to see that there's no free movement. I'm not turning the spinner, I'm not turning the prop, but I'm looking for dings that I may not know about on either side. That looks good, and this is tight. We've already checked the oil, we're good there, and checking this to make sure that that's nice and tight. Ask me how I know. We come across here, all the way to the front, nothing impeding. I don't feel any dings. Pitot is clear, and back all around. Okay, it's fuel testing time, and we have our little tester which sits in the door in the back there. There are 5 positions, 2 on each wing, and 1 which is the lowest point of the plane, like the gasculator there. So we're gonna come down here. I'll just show you how we do 1. And take yourself, I take a good amount. Make sure it's not leaking after I'm done. And what I'm looking for is water floating on the top here. If that's what it looks like, nice and blue, we can keep going. We do all 5 positions, and then we'll open up both tanks to make sure that it has the levels in it that we're looking for. We've poured what we had in here from all the testing, and we can see that we're above tab, so we visually confirm. And we visually confirmed that we are above tabs there. So 64 gallons visually. If we needed to check that, there's a nice device that I carry in the flight bag right here. And this device goes down, dipstick, goes down this way, and then it will float up and give you an indication. Oh, I think 25 gallons, you won't be able to use that. And that's a little bit of a tricky situation. Below 25 gallons on each tank, you won't see it visually, and you won't be able to get it from there. So I don't like to fly that way, but you will get an indication for your fuel over there. So the last little bit of stuff that I do before I actually get in the plane is I'll look through here, make sure all the placards are in the right place and that we have this and the pin underneath. And then in the back that I have the required documents that are available, and the handheld within reach, and all the headsets. This way I don't have to get back out because I missed something silly. And that is the pre-flight.